Hello, friends. Glad to be with you again. I want to talk to you this week about something that I certainly am working on. In fact, most of these talking faiths, it's that the Lord is working with me on a number of things, so I'm thinking it might be helpful to you. And this is about having a connection with God, a real connection. And so I've entitled this, Disconnect to Connect, and you'll understand why as I go on. But let me tell you what brought this to mind. Last week, I was walking out of my office to go home down to the parking lot. So I go down a flight of stairs to the parking lot. I noticed at least 4 people on my way out that were walking by themselves, but you know they were doing this. They were staring at their phone, texting or looking at something. And it got me thinking, when do we make time just to be still and listen and be with the Lord? There are so many devices, there are so many things that take our time. And so I started to do a little Bible study, and I came across one of my favorite Psalms. It's Psalm 46. And if you have a Bible, I'd encourage you to get it out and at least look at it maybe after this is over. But verse 10 was especially striking to me. Psalm 46 verse 10 says this, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth." That is an emphatic statement by God. Be still and know that I am God. When are we still? When do we make time just to be still? It's a crazy thing to think about. You know, as I experimented with this, some of us that are busy all the time, if we try to just be still, we start getting a little antsy. It feels weird. Our flesh doesn't like it. Our flesh loves something to do. We feel like we're getting something done, or we're just nervous about being still and being quiet. Why is that? I think it's a tool of the enemy to keep us from that connection with God. You know, a couple of things that I think about, and I caught myself doing this. Not to say that we don't all have our devotional times. I'm sure we do. I'm sure you do. But I caught myself doing this. The other morning, my wife and I sit here on this couch and do our devotionals. You know, I got my little reading that I do and my Bible. Well, you know what else? I got out my phone. I noticed my phone sitting by me as I was doing the devotional. But what's worse, I found myself checking my emails before I did my devotionals. Oh, that's always great for your head when you get a bad email, then try to do your devotional. It's second nature, though. I just did it, and I really had to catch myself. Because as hard as I try to kind of wash that out of my brain, I'm thinking about something else I read. We should give our first time to God if we can in the morning. Roll out of the rack, get yourself a cup of coffee. Don't pollute your brain space with anything. And be still before the Lord. Get into His Word. And then do this. Here's my next point. Have you ever had a friend, and a good friend at that? I know one at least. But every time I'm around him, he does most of the talking. In fact, it's hard to get a word in edgewise. You know, our time together is not all that satisfying. I wonder how God feels when we're doing all the talking. And I know we go to God in prayer, but do we just stop the prayer as soon as we're done talking? How about this? Try this. Try cultivating a time where you certainly go to God with intercession or supplication or thanksgiving or a need, but spend some time in silence and say, Lord, would you please speak to me now? That exalts the Lord. That gives Him an open space. See, God's a gentleman. He's not going to twist your arm or lay you flat on your back so he can do the talking. He wants you to do that. He wants you to create the environment for the Holy Spirit to speak. And again, your flesh will fight this big time. Mine does anyway. But let's start trying to do this. Let's try to create these times. It is incredibly, incredibly rewarding. And then I was thinking of this. And all of us have bad times. You know, they say the Christian life, trials, you're either coming out of a trial or getting ready to go into one, or you're in one. Here's the thing, when the bad stuff hits, sometimes we're like scared sheep because we don't know what to do. Now, unless you've cultivated these quiet times with the Lord, it seems very foreign. You know, like something goes terribly wrong and maybe a friend says, well, go to the Lord and pray. You're not really used to going to the Lord and asking or letting Him know what's going on and then sitting and listening. Let me tell you, dear friends, if you don't cultivate this exercise or get good at this, get good at communication with the Lord when times are good, when times are bad, it is extra hard. I implore you, think about this, cultivate this. Make this habit in your life something that you just do. You might just think about it and start it. Make it a habit. It will change your walk with the Lord. Again, disconnect to connect. It sounds crazy. We have to disconnect ourselves from everything that the world and the media and Facebook and all this has to offer to connect with the Lord. Be still. I love this. And I'm heading towards home here, but it says, be still and know that I am God. In the Hebrew, do you know what the correct translation of be still is? It's enough. It's not like the Lord being warm and cuddly, be still. He's saying enough. I am God. I will be exalted in the earth. I will be exalted among the nations. Remember your place before God. He is God. Do you want wisdom? Put yourself in a position to receive the wisdom on high. You don't originate this wisdom. He gives it to you. How do you get this? By being still in front of the Lord, sitting with Him. Don't let silence make you feel uncomfortable. Silence is a good thing. The Spirit will fill it with His sweet voice. Now lastly, and this is just a little extra bonus. Psalm 46 is one of my favorites because I don't know if you're aware of who Martin Luther is, but Martin Luther was a great church father. He wrote my favorite worship song of all time, A Mighty Fortress is Our God. I want you to do two things. I want you to listen to A Mighty Fortress is Our God. Google it, look at the lyrics, then read Psalm 46. This is where Martin Luther got the inspiration to pen the great hymn, A Mighty Fortress is Our God. Look at his lyrics. Look at Psalm 46, and I guarantee God will speak to you. Now, friends, help me with this, and I'll help you with this. Disconnect to connect. Maybe you got a question about this. Maybe you want to talk to me. Get a hold of me. My name's Jeff Clay. I'm at jeff@ranchchurch.com. Take care, guys. I'll see you soon.